less of a footballing experience now that they're trying to create at the stadium, and more of like a day out with like your family and like and having everything, the bells and whistles, if you will, beyond what's on the pitch. Sports Illustrated has kind of amplified that a bit with, you know, Club SI at the expense of Red Members with the Bulls Corner Pub, or like the Hype House replacing the Crossbar, which was accessible to like more fans. Now the Hype House is like a membership based thing.
Welcome back, everybody, here with a special episode with two great guests. I got the exchange, Jumpy Martinez, and in another corner, I got Luca from RB Experience. What's going on, guys? Luca, how you doing, man? Thanks for being with us.
I'm good, yeah. No, we're in the middle of a long off season, the longest I've ever really experienced as a fan. So that's been interesting to get used to, but no, it's good, man. Happy you guys are having me. I'm excited to dive into everything.
Of course, we love collaborating with other people. I think it's the time where things have kind of settled down a bit. Us as like MLS, content creators, we can work with each other and make some cool content and see what our thoughts are for the future. Jumpy, how you doing, man?
Oh, dude, good. I'm exhausted, man. Long trip to Philly last night for that big game. Wild game. Yeah, dude, I'm a little tired, but we're here. We're doing it. We got Luke on, man. I'm glad it reached out. I'm glad this all worked out.
Shout out to Jumpy.
Started, man.
Yeah, Jumpy, always the middleman, always making things happen, right? Hand in hand over here. But yeah, man, Luca, thanks again for coming on. So just tell the people real quick, you have your own show. You've been making content. If you don't know his page, it's rbny.xp is his handle. Check out his page. But yeah, man, tell us how long you've been covering Red Bulls for, and then tell us about your show.
Yeah, so I've been covering the Red Bulls since the start of the 2018 season, mainly only on Instagram, pretty much. I started a fan page, seeing some of the other old Instagram fan pages that you guys might not even remember. I remember one of them was, I think the biggest one was NYRB supporter and New York Red Bull fans.
I think once a
Two
Metro.
people I've never spoken to. I don't know who they are. They have since stopped posting, but I was kind of seeing a lot of what they were doing. And toward the end of the 2017 season, I was thinking, I've been a fan. I mean, I was born into the club. I mean, long story short, my dad grew up going to Cosmos games. Before that, my grandpa went to New York Americans games and whatever other local New York teams were playing in whatever leagues there were in the Bronx. And apparently the New York Americans had these insane Open Cup winning seasons, and even my great grandpa before that, when he was younger and immigrated, was a fan of local soccer. So it's kind of rare. I'm like a fourth generation fan of soccer in this area, which is kind of rare to say. So I'm very grateful to be where I am. And obviously, the NASL folded in the 80s. MLS started in the 90s. And so, yeah, my grandfather and my uncle were day one MetroStar season ticket holders. So I was born into it 5 years later in 2001. Anyway, back to my page. I've been making content for, almost 8 years. The past few years, I've really gotten more involved in graphic design and a lot more social media heavy type coverage. I wouldn't say I'm really like a traditional blogger or podcaster. I've kind of dabbled in those things, but I kind of like to call my page like a social media content creation platform or network, really. Just cover everything about the team and what it means to be a fan and to experience Red Bulls experience. The Red Bulls, the highs and the lows, but loyalty over everything. And just grateful to have grown so much and created a bit of a community. And we're on this journey together. It's a long one, but as I said, staying loyal, and hopefully I can kind of connect with the fans and give them more ways to connect with the team.
Exactly, man. And we appreciate all the content you put out. I mean, I've been seeing it, a lot of different graphics and video content. I mean, it's been incredible. Jumpy, what do you think? Have you our friend Luke over here? He's rocking the hat with us tonight.
So I was telling him off camera, both of you guys, that I felt like this year I've seen you really grow
Take that next step.
What your page is. That the year that they weren't good. So everybody was doing it last year when they were good, right? So we started seeing people in the press room that we've never even seen. This year, you're seeing people drop like flies that are coming in here that are so-called fans and so-called fan pages. And then when the shit started getting tough, they quit. They stopped posting. They stopped going to games, started making up stories while they're not going to games. They weren't into it. You stuck into it, but the content's gotten better. The visuals have gotten better. I see you during games and you have like a bunch of tabs open and you got different scenarios happening. And I'm like, I don't think people are thinking about this as deep as you are.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people
and I don't think people understand how hard you work as well, and that's why we want to give you your recognition we think you deserve.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, and that's like for real, for real. Like I see it when you're at games, and I'm like, it's a lot. And then you tell us when you have that other little thing that's going, with it, and it's like that's a lot. But I mean, maybe you're lucky that they suck this year because it's less of a hassle this year for you. Next year, maybe they get back to the groove.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's definitely more work when the team is doing well because you have more storylines and more things to celebrate. It's the type of work that you are very grateful to have, and I'd much rather be having more work right now and posting through a crazy playoff run because I think last year the playoff run was like a big part of my growth and other Red Bulls pages growths. But yeah, I don't know. I appreciate all the kind words. Yeah, there are a lot of tabs. I should probably have fewer tabs open. Even at the MLS Next Pro Cup final, I was like preparing, graphics if we lost or if we won to post, right away. And Michael Batista's like looking over at me. He's like, "Do not like. Why is that graphic on your screen right now? Like the like losing the final." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, or no, I think it was the opposite. He was like, "Don't have the Red Bulls win graphic up right now. Like, don't jinx it." And I was like, "Okay, look, I have the losing one here also, so we're in like a karmic balance right now." He's like, "Okay, I feel better about it." But yeah, you just have to kind of be ready for all those scenarios and trying to be timely on news that comes out and trends and whatever. All of the Red Bulls pages kind of have their own templates and styles. So no, it's fun to be a part of it. It's a lot of sometimes it's full of pressure, but it's a good type of pressure, and I'm grateful. Yeah, grateful to have the experience and be a part of it.
And that's the thing with all this stuff now with new technology and everything. We're innovating and finding new ways to reach fans. We're finding new ways to report things and be across media and drop on these different platforms to reach a new audience. You got a bunch of new fans coming into the game every single year. So it's platforms like yours and the exchange that can reach out to these new fans and kind of connect with them a way that the club can't right now. So it's just more on the ground, more personable, and I think that's why people were able to connect with your page. And you're right on top of the news, always. Like he's on it. And one big part of news that we thought we were going to get that was going to be a little bit crazier, but was a little bit downer was that rebrand. Supposedly, I mean, it's not officially launched yet. I think we just got the one post, but they keep teasing it. What are your thoughts, Luca, real fast on this rebrand? Is it something we should be excited about? I understand they changed some colors around, but you think it's going to be big? Maybe they're dropping a new kit with it too, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's anything anyone should be excited about. I think it's just something that they're doing. I don't think that we should see it as like, oh, they're putting all this effort into a rebrand and not the roster. Like, I think we can kind of separate those two things. I think this is just like something they're trying out. I'm curious if it's going to trickle over to other Red Bull clubs or not. In terms of like, all it is they're like shrinking a border and like removing a shadow and like kind of updating the blue in the badge. And that's it. And then obviously the name being Red Bull New York. I think we saw in the press release for the schedule, they're already referring to it as Red Bull New York. They're still preserving Red Bulls as like the nickname. So like they're still going to be saying the Red Bulls. It's just we're never going to see them use New York Red Bulls ever again, which is kind of weird. And like, fans will obviously still refer to it as the New York Red Bulls.
Always. It's going to be hard, especially when it's on the back of the
I consider Red Bull Arena. I say Red Bull Arena. I don't say...
Yeah, right. I don't think this is something anyone should be excited for. It's just something that they're doing, and okay, sure. Will it move the needle at all for anything in the area? Not really. I think it's about how they market the team in the area, not necessarily like the name. In a way, like part of me thinks Red Bull New York as like a name sounds classier than New York Red Bulls in a weird way. But
Red Bull Salzburg.
Yeah, like it just sounds in a way it sounds less of like a mouthful, even though it's the same words in my opinion, but it's not as colloquial sounding as the New York Red Bulls.
100%.
At least we can still call them the Red Bulls officially. The club is still doing that. So nothing to be excited about, nothing major, but nothing also to like overly hate on, in my opinion. It's just kind of happening and yeah. So
that's the only real emotion that's been going on.
What do you choose to hate on and what not to hate on?
Me personally?
Easy, City.
Yeah, because like I'm not saying that me and Steve sit here and like hate on everything, but we're very opinionated on the things that we hate, right?
Yeah.
But like some people said, one person said to me, like, I think that we have to choose our battles wisely. And I'm like,
Yes.
what? And they're like, yeah, I think you need to just like watch how you go after a team or go after a player. I'm like, I don't think that we go after a player. I try to explain to somebody like we love the players. Like some of the players we're like cool with. They know us, you know, and like if they played for Portland, I would be rooting for them. So for me it's more about the players than it is about the team. So I
Omir
don't
Fernandez
think,
is a Portland player that I still root for.
you
Anyway.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I think that some pages like yours, you have to walk like a thin line per se with not really knocking them because you don't want Zach and AV to come after you, right? Or do you just whatever and your opinion matters?
In the past, I think I was a lot more critical in my content in more like overt ways. I feel like now I still will comment on the lows, but in a more like unbiased way in terms of presenting it unbiased and letting people kind of draw their own conclusions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, like I would write paragraphs about the performance and even like critique individual players, and it even like got me into some scenarios that I regret where like players would comment and block me, and it just didn't feel good for me, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't something like that I thought was so mean, or but seeing them react in that way, you could say they're soft, whatever, but ultimately I was like, I think a big example is when we saw, this was like last winter, like Patrick Klamala's interview with Tom Bogert about his departure from the Red Bulls and how he was like really going through a tough time, and like not that we have to excuse everything off the field that's happening for a player, but it's like a big factor in a lot of players' lives. Sometimes we don't know everything they're going through. So trying to be a bit more critical about the team overall, he was saying, and not like singling out players for performances and things like that.
Yeah.
The thing that I think I'm like the most, or that's kind of annoyed me the most, but I understand why they're doing this, is kind of the long shift over, this is many years, but how it's less of a footballing experience now that they're trying to create at the stadium, and more of like a day out with like your family, and like and having everything, the bells and whistles, if you will, beyond what's on the pitch. Sports Illustrated has kind of amplified that a bit with, you know, Club SI at the expense of Red Members with the Bulls Corner Pub, or like the Hype House replacing the Crossbar, which was accessible to like more fans, and now the Hype House is like a membership based thing. You know, creating like making the stadium more of like a destination for concerts and things like that beyond just the football is something that I understand from a business perspective. I understand why the club is doing it, and I think ultimately revenue generating for them is positive. But for me, it's diluted a bit of the game day experience. For me, diluted how I feel like the fans are kind of like, the diehard fans are kind of integrated into the game versus the more casual fans they're trying to bring in. And I want them to bring in more casual fans, just trying to figure out that balance of not at the expense of the more diehard fans. So that's something that has been something that's annoying me over a longer period of time off the field, obviously.
That's a great point. Good observation there. I didn't even think of it that way, but it's true. We get Americanized, even though it is already Americanized. But yeah, you see it in the NFL too, where it's all these dining experiences.
Yeah,
and
it's not anything specific about the Red Bulls. This is just
yeah, it's
American
not.
sports
And
overall.
honestly, dude, don't worry about the players. I think Andres Reyes has me blocked somewhere. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to explain myself on that one. But yeah, still, it's early days. But I think I like that from you. If you're able to share your opinion unfiltered, like unapologetically, I mean, that's kind of, this is a free speech, so we're able to say what we want. I mean, to a certain extent, we respect all players, as we always do. But yeah, it's a great point. I also think that it's a strange way to go to the Hype House, but I understand they want to attract more fans, but it was just poor timing with that news as well. Didn't get a lot of good comments. I don't know if you looked under that post. So we'll see, as Sports Illustrated moves forward, as Red Bulls move, or Red Bull New York move forward to try to gain some traction. I know it's still really early, but like, you have any expectations for this winter or heading into the season? It sounds like we're going to start the season a little bit earlier, starting in February or late February.
Yeah, no, I mean, actually the weekend is the same weekend as last year, so it's not really earlier. I mean, the home opener officially on paper is a day earlier, and it's our first ever February home opener in club history, which is kind of cool. I don't think they're going to ever really open now we only have like two, seasons left with this, kind of 1.5, I guess, left with this calendar, but
everything's
like,
changing always.
But yeah, we're on the road again to start the season, obviously. Yeah, we still haven't gotten the roster decisions. They're due to the league by Wednesday. So that's really only going to determine if guys like Tim Parker, Kyle Duncan, Peter Stroud, AJ Marcucci, Curtis Ofori, and
I think Nealis too, no?
Sean Nealis, like only those guys, that really affects those guys. But, obviously we have the coaching appointment. Is it Bradley? Is it not Bradley? I think for me, if it
I hope
were,
it's not. I
yeah,
hope
I
it's
mean,
not.
I'm not fully like no. I feel like if he weren't appointed, I'd be again. You want me to be very opinionated? I'm saying like if he weren't appointed, I think it would be fine. And then if he were appointed, I would honestly kind of in a way make it kind of similar to how like Jesse Marsh started, where he obviously he had a head coaching role in Montreal, but like not a very prolific MLS manager, and then turned into like our best manager of all time. So I'm thinking there's a potential for Michael Bradley to time it right. He hasn't managed people who are older than him, really, like, a Chupo or a Forsberg. So I understand, like, you don't want it to happen. I think if it did happen, I wouldn't be,
Shocked.
so upset. I would kind of be on the hype train and I'd be all in. That said, I don't know if he's like my first choice, but if they make the choice, I'm like, you know what? I respect it. But yeah, I mean, just curious to see De Guzman's strategy. We've had years of Yoka now, and that's kind of been, mostly a focus on bringing players from abroad and a lot of like Scandinavian countries and Germany, obviously.
Bring in the Spanish
And
guys. Come
yeah,
on.
no, I'm curious. Yeah, bring in a lot of like more South American guys.
They just
Uh,
don't have the scouts set up there. Like literally, I think they have all the scouts in Scandinavia right now, and in Poland. There's one over
yeah,
there too.
I mean, obviously, not the in-person hype, but if we're just seeing the online hype for a Chilean left back, where is Biscochito? Why are you not playing Biscochito? Like, you're losing because you're not playing Biscochito. Like, if we can get that for this left back that I had never heard of, just imagine what, like, some South Americans in their prime could really, really do. Not just for attendance, but also, for on the pitch performance. I would like to see the Red Bulls be a bit more proactive in shopping people around. Like, Wiki Carmona is still under contract, but, like, let's figure out a way to offload him and not just keep him around because he's under contract. Like, things like that, I want De Guzman to be more like cutthroat and like just because these guys are under contract, we're not just gonna let them run until the end. Like, don't be afraid to like really aggressively try to transfer like 5 or 6 guys.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see and try to have a bit of a rehaul that way. Because if we just offload people who don't have their options or whose contract runs out and we add a few pieces, it's gonna mostly feel like the same team. So I just want to see a bit more proactive, just decision making like that.
It's going to be a long off season for the Red Bulls, even though it's only 2 months, Jumpy. We got a lot to figure out, it sounds like, between the coaching decisions, roster decision, who's going to be here, healthy. So you have any expectations for Red Bulls this winter transfer window, or is it set pretty low? I mean, I know we still got to fill that last DP spot. Have you heard any other news about another name we might be swirling around here in the rumor mill, Jorge?
I haven't heard anything. The only thing I do see is that, I was against the Timo Werner. I'm still against the Timo Werner. There's a
Yep,
lot of
same.
people that have like all their eggs in the basket about this Timo Werner. Me personally, I think now that we kind of know that he's not about that move, everybody can move on. We can stop with the rumors that it's going to happen. He'll end up in the MLS. It just won't be here.
Yeah, my post was literally case closed. I was like, I'm never posting about this guy again. I don't want to see him again.
Yeah, that was a while for all of us. We got blue balled hard, so let's hope they can target somebody and somebody fast, because if we look across the river, we got another team that's been making a run for better or for worse in the MLS playoffs. So the competition is thick as NYCFC take down the Philadelphia Union 1-0 in Philadelphia this past weekend. So they advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals against Miami in Miami. I know Jumpy had boots on the ground there, so I'll let Jumpy real quick take this lead. What was the aftermath like after City's win in Philly?
The place was electric, dude. The place was electric. Phillies fans were bananas. NYCFC's traveling supporters were crazy. It was a great game to be at. It was a great game to watch. I'm assuming on TV. I was freezing out there. So there was a situation. There wasn't enough space in the media area for all of the media. So they had an empty suite that they gave to the other media. So you had seats out like a suite, and then you could sit inside the room, but with no TV. So if you wanted to watch the game, you had to sit out there anyway. So that experience, like being in the mix with these people going crazy, was sick. And then obviously Maxi, every time he goes there, his whole career, he scores. This is a super important one. After the game, I asked him, like, where do you rank this one? And he made a great point. He was like, my goals and my career is coming to an end. So like all these goals now mean everything to me. And like the writing's on the wall for him. We don't know what's going to happen with NYCFC and Maxi, but somebody's starting to write something on the wall.
Yeah.
But I would like to see this team do something. I just think it's crazy that when we started the exchange, and we do both teams. Last year we had the one going to the final. Am I saying NYC is going to be the team to go to final? Yesterday was like the greatest moment that I've had with them during this time. Wow. Like it was great to be there, and Matt Freese played amazing, and then hear them like going crazy in the locker room afterwards. And it was just like last year with the Red Bull after they won at Citi Field. Dude, it was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah, same night to the day. Like it was November 23rd, 2024. And then last night.
It was amazing.
And that's why I think Maxi wanted to come back. I'm not even kidding. I don't think he would have ever wanted to end his career losing to your arch rival in New York, Red Bull. So I think he's like, I need it. I need another year. I need another go at it. And City's been a good knockout team. Have they been a good league team? No, because they don't have any shields, but they've been a good knockout team. Both ends with a trophy, but it's good for them. They were able to navigate that, losing, being down a player. Luca, I know you cover MLS as well. Was there anything that stood out to you in that Philly game?
Yeah, I mean, I like actually really predicted that NYCFC would win this game. Based on like the karma of like, of course it would happen, but also I just think their core has really impressed me, and obviously, you lose Pereira, you lose Alonso Martinez, and Aiden O'Neill was suspended, and so like that kind of, I think, just only really serves as extra motivation for teams that have the right mentality, that are strong defensively. Obviously, Matt Freese is insane, and honestly, what I will say is I feel like, obviously as a Red Bulls fan, but like I feel like NYCFC have like a much more likable and humble team now than they did like 4 or 5 years ago. I feel like Matt Freese is like a very likable guy and like a class player, and
he's
like
a man of God.
And I just feel like those old NYCFC teams in like 2017 through like 2022 or 3, just full of like the most like shithousery guys, like the worst people. And now like Alonso Martinez, very likable guy, Matt Freese, very likable guy. So I feel like their core is very strong. It seems like they're very tight knit, and yeah, defensively they're just so strong. Like they've only let in one goal across the whole playoffs. And Philly, say what you want about the break and whatever, they had the same break off as every other team that won in 2 rounds.
They actually had 3 weeks.
No, right.
And Wesley had 2.
Right, exactly. No, I'm saying this. The all the other teams that got round 1 done in 2 games, which were I think just them, LAFC, Vancouver, maybe one other one I forget. So those other teams had the same type of break. Obviously, NYCFC had 1 fewer week break. So yeah, it's a weird part of the format, but they really just did not look like they came to play. And I think also it's stylistically, they play a more similar style to the Red Bulls, the energy drink soccer type high press, whereas NYCFC are like a lot more comfortable in possession and transition, and their goal was fucking gorgeous, like one of the best goals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's all you need in a very tight game like that, where you can be super defensive. And Philly just really like had a tough time breaking through, and then when they did kind of break through, it was Matt Freese making a crazy save on Frankie Westfield, or Frankie Westfield like putting it over. Philly had like a few late chances that like they were knocking on the door, but I really would not be surprised if this team beats Miami, because I think like defensively they're just so sound. I think they will cause Messi problems. I think they will. Not to say that Messi won't be able to figure them out, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be a clean sheet for Matt Freese, but yeah, I would not be surprised if NYCFC wins this game on Saturday. I think Messi and Miami are getting hot at the right time, but like NYCFC just have, they've always loved being like the underdog.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of hurt them in the derby last year when they like weren't the underdog and they were hosting us. So they thrive on that. Like, credit to them. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Tough draw against Miami, I'd say. Going down to Miami, it would be difficult. Red Bulls were able to avoid that game last year. But yeah, a lot of shithousery in that game. It's always shithousery between City and Philly. I mean, even the fans going back and forth. If you've ever been in the Philadelphia Union Stadium, if you're listening, you know where the away section is. It's right next to the Sons of Ben. So that could add for some extra chaos after the game. It's always interesting. If you want to see some clips, you head over to the Exchange. He's got the clips there for you if you want to check it out. Some derogatory shit here or there, but whatever.
Yeah, dude, you know, like that's uncalled for.
You come to Philly.
No, I get it, dude. Filthy's an odd place, man. But like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, you know what the truth, dude? Even after we left, like, there's guys on the team that I know that, like, again, like I mentioned before, that I root for, even if they weren't on NYCFC. And I was giving them like a fist pass. They were walking. I'm like, let's go. You know, great stuff. You know. And some dude on Ultra, he's like, bro, get out of here. If you're from New York, I'm like, dude, I cover like everybody in the league. Like, why are you walling? He was like, I saw you go like this. And I'm like, what? And then his girl was like, stop it right now. And I'm like, dude, like, it's not even that serious.
I think
they don't even know you.
This was the Philly game they needed revenge from the 2021. I thought this was their revenge game. Arc, whatever. So much for that. We still got one other game to play. On the other side, I got San Diego versus Minnesota on to 10 p.m. But we saw the Vancouver Whitecaps and the LAFC play out to a great game. Our old friend Frankie Amaya was in there. Brian White was in there. Some old Red Bull players, Mueller. So that was a great game. Ended 2-2. Vancouver. Move on. Shout out Leo Rodriguez. He called it. Another great matchup. Who do you want to see, San Diego or Minnesota on the other side, Luca? You have a preference, or?
I don't really have a preference. I don't really have a preference. I feel like I am really all in on the vibe Vancouver have around them. San Diego play a great style of soccer. I think, you know, from like a personal jealousy perspective, winning MLS Cup in your first season as a team for San Diego would be like insane. But like, credit to them. I think obviously Vancouver would go to San Diego. I really don't have a crazy preference. I'd say maybe San Diego, just to kind of keep like a high top seed matchup.
Yeah,
conference final. But
bring more eyes. Chucky Lozano over there too.
Yeah,
I think that would be a decent semifinal, right? I mean, again,
I want to see Thomas Mueller get in there.
Yeah, in the final, it's got to be.
Because you know Giorgio Chiellini won one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bale won one. So, like, I'd like to see, and you know what, he again, you know, I said this a couple weeks ago with you, Steve. There's certain guys who come to the league who are here to grow the league and grow the game here. And then there's guys that are here for their club and for their brand and for themselves. And you see that with Sonny in LAFC. When he goes to hotels, you get to, like, see him. Like, if you're a fan, you get to, like, try to meet him. Like, he'll sign an autograph. He'll take a picture with you. The same with Thomas Mueller, because he's coming into the stadium. He's signing for people. They're here because they're trying to hold on to the fans. They're trying to bring in the fans, you know? If a kid is there waiting and meets Thomas Mueller, it's like forever. He's going to remember that. So he's stuck with that team. Messi, on the other hand, is there for Miami and their show that's happening down there. The whole league is there for Miami, and they kind of do whatever they want. Even the way that they handle their media. You know, like, nobody's going to talk to Messi. They had him on the TV one time, but nobody's ever going to talk to him. Sonny at least makes himself available, and he tries to speak English. You know, and you got to appreciate that. So for that reason, especially what I think is going to be better than any final, that game between LA and Vancouver is probably going to be better than any final that you could possibly put together, the way that the game went. I want to see Thomas Mueller win. I mean, get to the next level. Ideally, I would love to see NYC, but you just really got to hope that carriage doesn't turn into a pumpkin, the glass slipper doesn't turn back into a chancleta. You know what I mean? Like, you can't let that happen right now either. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, of
because
course.
They're missing their two best players. So, like, at some point, like, it could all change.
But another club that actually just won a second cup was Gotham FC, the New York, New Jersey baddies, the ladies. They held it down, and we have to shout them out real quick. Champions beating the Washington Spirit 1-0 on the West Coast, mind you, too. So an 8 seed, first time ever an 8 seed winning in that competition. So incredible. Luke, were you at the parade?
I was, yeah.
That's what's up.
No, it was a great vibe. I just coincidentally had off from work today, so I just like was like, oh,
hell yeah,
perfect. I'll pull up. No, it was really fun.
Roger was there too. Shout out to Roger.
Yeah. No, a lot of the right. Roger, big exchange content capture guy there. But yeah, like Gary was there. You know, John Purd was there. Like all these photographer media people. But no, it was a fun vibe. Like the parade was really funny. It was just like 4 blocks next to City Hall Park. So they just kind of like turned the corner. Um, the wrapped buses kind of came up the block, confetti, whatever, and then the ceremony started. And no, it was really nice to be a part of, and I think just a great underdog run for them. As someone who doesn't really watch too much of them during the regular season, and I should a bit more. I think it's just for me, like Red Bull, like being at Red Bull's games Saturday night and then Sundays, going back to the stadium. I feel like it's a lot to like have all that in person soccer filling up like my entire weekend. So I would love to go to more games. But no,
Where do you
like
live? Where do you live, Luca? Where do you live?
I'm in
Jersey.
Brooklyn.
Shit, you're not even in
So
Jersey.
yeah, I mean,
Shit.
I grew up in Bergen County, but yeah, I live in Brooklyn now. So
Shit.
Very
that's
cool.
why you'll like never see me at the training facility because it's just like way too hard to like get up there for any media stuff. But no, but the stadium is easy. The stadium is super easy for me to get to. It's actually easier for me to get to than Citi Field or Yankee Stadium. So do with that information what you will. But anyway, all the watch parties for Gotham, like electric. Their social team captured it so well. They had them in New York and New Jersey. Like Veritage had one. Like Keepers next to the stadium had one. Right. So like just a great atmosphere around the team, and everyone's kind of really showing up for them, whether in person or yeah, at these watch parties. So like it was just, and I was even at a watch party last week for the semifinal, and yeah, just like a great vibe in these bars. And then yeah, the final was exhilarating. It was crazy. Like we saw with the Red Bulls last year, like you just having a chip on your shoulder the whole time. You're a low seed. It's more fun to root for your team when you're kind of a low seed in a way.
Yeah.
And I think it creates better storylines and whatever. I'm also a guy who pays attention to like how clubs do their social media, and I feel like their social media like managers, they really tapped into that and they really harnessed the whole like underdogs my ass stuff. Like it was great. Like it was they really made a compelling narrative around this team, and I think iron sharpened iron in that way, and I think the team was really receptive to it. And yeah, Rose Lavelle is like I don't want to like to use the words of my dad who was texting me during the game, like she's such an unassuming beast. Because like unassuming because she just kind of
smaller. I know,
like
yeah.
smaller and like a bit like like a smaller player. So, but she always is like coming up in like these clutch moments for the U.S. women's national team, and then obviously at club level, and yeah, just a beautiful goal. Brunina obviously with all her step overs, and then anytime there's like a trickling ball like that to the top of the box, just very easy for anyone who's there to just pounce on it, and what a beautiful strike. So no, really excited for them. Just a fun day in the city. Whatever. There's this like weird, like not like rivalry, but like Twitter wars I've been getting into where like all these NYCFC fans, like NYCFC, like again, not to take away from Gotham as their own team, the success that they had, but just NYCFC fans claiming these as like wins for the city when they're a team that plays in New Jersey is just the most hypocritical thing for me, and I don't get it at all. Like I understand that they are the only NWSL team in the region, I understand that, but being like their NYC's team, like come on, like
I know it's a shared.
You have your
thing.
5-borough bubble mentality. You can't
Of
claim
course.
these trophies as your own.
It's a shared thing, and then it's truly, as much as I don't even want to admit it, it kind of is an identity problem in my eyes, because you're celebrating in two different states. Some people just like, hey, fucking pick one, right? I don't mind it personally, but from the outside looking in, it is kind of like, all right, are you going to have a parade in the city, or are you going to have one in New Jersey? I think they kind of do both. Like the Giants did both, like in a way, at least something at the stadium a little bit, and then in the city, which is totally fine, to kind of honor and give both fans across on the river, a side. But I mean, Jumpy, I don't think there's another women's team coming in the city. I mean, I guess if another women's team came into the frame, then it would make things a little bit easier.
You have Brooklyn in USL Super League, but they're down in Coney Island. So
what do you think?
You know what? I think NYCFC has a plan to bring in a women's team with the new stadium. And yesterday,
Breaking news.
What are their names? The City Boys. It's two brothers. They did like a live while they were driving down to Philly, and they were talking about this. They were like, the Gotham, like whose team are they? I'm like, and they were like, do people want to see another women's team? And I'm like, I would love to see a women's team here in Jersey, New Jersey, and then there could be another Hudson River Derby female.
I don't think it's going to change Gotham now. I mean, it is what it is. Like,
I guess.
I think there are rumblings. Like there are rumblings, and this has been for a few years, and this is like nothing confirmed at all. But like MLS, like being curious about starting their own like women's league, which a lot of people would say, oh, that's just MLS being greedy and like trying to take over NWSL like they're trying to take over USL, whatever. But in my opinion, more soccer is better. You give more, not just men's teams, but like more women and girls opportunity to train and play professionally. And so if that does happen, like that's what we've seen with like Europe. It's like they have the women teams for all the main men's teams. Those are the teams that are like competing in the Champions League, and they have their own like Premier League for women and things like that. So I don't know how soon that would be, if that's even something MLS is kicking around. But like, would NYCFC's women's team play in NWSL, or would they just wait for like an MLS women's league? You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot at play. I mean, last episode we talked about the potential of even adding a third pro men's team in the league. It's possible with the New York Cosmos coming back. They got the brand. I know they played before we were all born, but still people like their history. They follow it. They know who Pele is. You got to honor your elders. So if anyone knows soccer in this area, you have some respect for the Cosmos. So that's a whole other topic. And they're going to be USL. I know that's different from the MLS, but a lot of things are changing, man. I know you guys have been seeing it. The calendar is going to change. We're getting a new training facility, at least for the Red Bulls. New York City FC is getting their new stadium. So a lot of things are changing, and for the better. I know the game's maybe going to get a little bit more commercial with Messi being here. And Jumpy, isn't it funny that as soon as Messi was done with that interview and he was talking about the schedule fucking changing, all of a sudden, I swear to you, a week later he did that interview, and then a week later they announced they're changing the schedule because Messi mentioned that that's one of the first steps we have to do to grow the league.
He also brought up you got to let teams spend.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bigger message that I think that I wish caught on a little quicker. Once they're allowed to spend and you can compete with a guy going to Chelsea for the same amount of money that he could come play in New York City or play in like LA or Miami, dude, it's a home run. And also, like, you need to make these places more appetizing, New York City, I don't know how players aren't jumping on the idea of coming to play in New York City. I don't know how New York City isn't looking to sign like a James Rodriguez when you're about to open up a stadium in Queens with a gazillion Colombians that live in Queens.
They were looking at that. I saw some rumors.
I don't know how on this side, like, we're not seeing like Chupo on billboards. We're not seeing Emil Forsberg on billboards. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to go to a market where you're going to work for the market and the market's going to work for you. Like, I would love to be driving down and seeing fucking Emil Forsberg on the fucking...
Yeah, it's true. And he did deserve it because he helped get the team in his first year to the final.
Man,
you can't ask him much
dude,
more.
He was a post away from getting a fucking statue built out of him in the fucking... A post away. They're building a statue of Emil Forsberg, bro. Come on, man.
I know. So a lot of big things. And Luca, this will be one of my last questions. Like I said, a big year coming up. A lot of changes. This is our last season with this calendar. There's going to be a break in between. This is going to be a crazy year. It's 2026. Do you have any personal goals heading into this year, and what are you looking forward to most?
Well, like personal goals for like my page?
Yeah, like for your brand, for your page, or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm dabbling in being on camera a bit more.
Nice.
And it's something that kind of like doesn't come as naturally to me. Mainly, as I said, I kind of have more of like the graphic design, social media background, and less of like the making reels and short form video background. So I'm kind of like trying to dabble in that a little bit more. So we'll see. I know we got to get some more like good Southward content into the mix. Yeah,
you liked our videos? I mean, I guess we did have a lane there with those crowd reaction videos, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are really good ways to kind of showcase the fans in like very intimate ways. It's something where like I personally am not like a ride or die like supporters group guy. Like I've just kind of like, it's not fully in my fandom to be chanting and banging drums and screaming the whole game with all these other guys and ripping my shirt off. You know what I mean? Like more of that I think would be great. But yeah, being on camera a bit more. I think trying to kind of figure out ways I can make my templates like more engaging for social, and I feel like they already kind of are a bit engaged, pretty engaging, but trying to do that a bit more, trying to figure out more like off the field stories that I feel like can help players or help fans resonate with the players more and connect with them more in a way. Because sometimes I feel like we don't really know our own players, and a lot of them
100%, man.
A lot of them are very media trained, and it makes sense, but wanting to try to figure out ways to like give these guys a bit more personality and like find little whatever like nuggets to like share about. Like I remember, actually I don't think I posted about it, but I remember like someone quoted Sofo as saying this year that like he hadn't seen his family in like, like since he was back in Ghana or something, and it was like, he hasn't seen his family in like 5, 6, 7 years or something like that. And then he just posted him with his family a few days ago, and I'm like, is that the first time you've seen your family in like all these years? Like trying to think about more of those things and like being more on the pulse with what the players are doing and trying to make them more personable and whatever. Like sharing, like for example, I was sharing about like Matty Dos Santos's like full extended insane family showing up of like 100 people at like MLS Next Pro, semifinals and the cup. So like little things like that, I feel like go a long way to give these kids some life beyond just, it was a great game. We got really stuck in, it was a great feeling, like.
Yeah, of course. It's those little stories, man.
Yeah,
Those
like kind of
that get
bringing
told.
those layers out a bit more, especially for the players who don't have as much of a personality, and trying to get fans to like know a bit more about them, I think would be something cool I could try to experiment with.
Yeah, it definitely makes an impact doing that stuff and gains more attention, gets more fandom, gets more people into it once they see and they know.
I'm just thinking about very different, but like all the Knicks guys, I feel like have insane personalities, and like I feel like I want more of that in our roster, just like, and like Thomas Muller, obviously, like just a super funny guy, like always smiling and laughing, and like, loves the cameras. So like more of that aura, trying to like figure out where that is and bring it out of these guys a bit more.
I think there was some sauce with Cam Harper and Chupo earlier in the season. Remember, John, we talked to Cam about he was doing the gritty. Like there were some good vibes, and like that's what we see too. We want to see the personalities eventually come out too. Again, we know like Emil's like, oh, we're machines on the field, which I fucking love when he gets them pumped up like that. But yeah, we want them to come out of their shell. We want them to be more personable out in public. So thank God Apple is going to make the game more accessible too. Because I mean, if you can't watch the game, then you don't probably care who's even playing. So shout out to barely a shout out to Apple for making MLS Pass free. Jumpy, any more shout outs before we head out here?
Man, I want to give a shout out to, I got my boy Mo back.
Shout out Mo.
I've been out doing these exchanges, man, alone for a little bit with just Roger. Johnny's out for the ride. So shout out to Big Mo. Shout out to Veritage, about to put together a dope event. Yeah, we got to give a quick shout out to the event.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, are you coming out for that?
It'd be fun to come out, yeah. I mean, I'm honestly invited to like at least one more other thing here in the city. Just because I have all these like connections now in like the New York soccer world, so we'll see where I end up. But I do have to make it out to Veritage for a watch party or this event. It'd be
perfect.
So, yeah.
And a big shout out to Luca for coming on, dude. I appreciate it. Late notice, we moved quick, my man. Thank you.
Yep.
Nah, it's the pleasure's all mine.
Yeah, he wore a hat too with us. We're all vibing.
Got my little like corduroy polo hat going. Nah, it's good.
I love it. Luca, you want to give any shout outs to your page? Tell people where they can find you real quick and where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just Red Bulls Experience, rbny.xp on Instagram. And I do have an X/Twitter where I, do post some content, also shit post, but like, but yeah, it's mostly all in on Instagram if you want to join the party. 2025 was a weird year, but through the highs and the lows, you make content for everything. You cover everything equitably. Yeah, next season hoping for a big year. But no, shout out my whole family. I mean, as I said, I was born into this.
This badge too.
The one of my pinned posts on my Instagram, if you guys have seen it, my grandpa passed away in 2019. Our last game at the stadium together was the 2018 Supporters Shield win. The club very graciously gifted my family. It was the glitch kit at the time, which I know is not the most popular kit, but it was the newest kit at the time when he passed, so it makes sense. But with his name, Allen, and 96 on the back. So my pinned photo on my Instagram is I brought that to MLS Cup, and that was like just a very full circle moment and having like a piece of my family's legacy, at the biggest Red Bulls game in 16 years. So no, I mean, my most fond memories of going to Red Bulls games is, my whole family, my parents, my brother, my uncle, my cousins, my grandpa. Our seats are in 126, like the center section on the halfway line with the VAR. So that's where we are. And yeah, man, going all the way back to Giant Stadium, my earliest memories, being with my family at Giant Stadiums. No, I owe it all to them. It's in my blood to support my local, and yeah, I'm just going to keep doing that. It's who I am.
Yeah, and we appreciate you being able to tell the story of the club, the history of the club, giving people a background for new fans and for fans that have been, for 20 years around, like you said, since Giant Stadium, since the Metro Stars days. So it's really good to have somebody like yourself who can have some of the old and some of the new to help fans, welcome them into this new age. So we just want to shout out to Luca. Again, RB Experience, you know where to find him. Great, innovative creator. So go check him out if you don't follow him already. And Jumpy, we need to hear about that fourth team. He teased it last week. We still need to hear about that exchange special shirt exchange story as well.
Ooh. Yeah, well, I'm going to have to wait because I was told that I can't bring this up yet. But there is another team that's going to be in the mix. So hopefully by next week we'll be able to talk about it. And you got to come back. You got to come back and you got to hear about it, right?
Yeah.
Sorry for holding up this long. But
this is obviously not the MLS Next Pro, the Island FC or whatever that is.
No.
Long Island, the island, baby.
Or how about Roosevelt Island FC?
Yeah. Governors, Roosevelt, yeah.
That'd be dope. If there was like an homage to like Ellis Island, I'd be with it.
An Ultra?
No.
Yeah, baby.
All right, everybody. I appreciate everyone who's still listening at this point. From TNV Clothing to The Exchange to Luca, RB Experience. We appreciate everybody listening. Thank you. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Keep buying, keep supporting local, and we'll see you next time. Peace.